South Africa is well known for its splendor and beauty, and of course its extensive natural diversity of plant and wildlife. One publishing company that realizes the importance and interest of our natural biome is Breezer Publications. They focus exclusively on publishing books that cover topics related to South African nature, ecology, natural history, tourism, plant and animal species, field guides, gardening and much more. At present, their published list includes more than 100 titles. The latest addition to Breezer Publications' list is the unique Sappy Birds of South Africa, a complete English and Afrikaans pictorial and factual guide to all of South Africa's more than 720 bird species. The book also contains interesting and unusual facts for each species, new updated distribution maps, and more than 800 quality images by leading photographers. But the Sappy Birds of South Africa is different to all other bird guide publications, with a feature which is the first of its kind on the market. For the first time, bird calls can be heard from the pages of a field guide with the aid of the Call Finder. The Call Finder is an electronic pen that plays the sound of the bird's actual call when it is pointed at the bird's image in the book. You simply point and listen, ensuring quick association, supplemented by information and hints from the book on bird behavior to assist with identifying species. With Sappy Birds of South Africa and the Call Finder, you are always close to the fascinating world of birds, whether in the field or the comfort of your own home. Sappy Birds of South Africa is the ultimate guide to all South Africa's bird species, pictorial, factual, and audible. The Call Finder technology is set to revolutionize the way experienced birders go birding. But it also opens up the wonderful world of birding to newcomers, especially children, nature's future caretakers. Sappy Birds of South Africa not only offers actual bird sounds with the Call Finder, it is a complete field guide too, and easy to use. Identification of birds can be done quickly, easily, and accurately through Shape Finder, Dual Decks, and Call Finder. With Shape Finder, birds can easily be identified according to 4 behavior groups, namely water birds, raptors, veld landscape, and bush landscape. Dual Decks is a bilingual index of all birds listed by their common group names, such as duck or sparrow, and the relevant page numbers. Then, of course, the Call Finder is on hand to identify birds according to their calls. The Call Finder does not require the internet or network coverage and has no complicated instructions, making it easy for use on those field trips to remote places. Breezer uses new printing technology to print an invisible grid over every photo. The eye of the Call Finder reads this grid and recalls the bird's call from its internal memory. The book is the brainchild of authors Saaki Kidson and Herman van Niekerk, who have been working on the project since 2003. Their knowledge, love of nature, and involvement in bird watching and nature conservation has been the ideal background for a comprehensive project like Sappy Birds of South Africa. The result is a brilliant book that takes bird watching to the next level.
Birds are amazing creatures. They are beautiful and they have beautiful voices. But the problem is, it is difficult to identify them. Back in the old days, we just had a bird book. Along with that, we had cassettes with the calls, or we had CDs. Now, you had to open your bird book to look at the bird and then refer back to your CDs with the voices of the calls, and it was quite often difficult to amalgamate these two into a proper identification of the species. What we have now with the new Sappy bird book and the Call Finder is a combination of these two techniques. So you have a picture of the bird, you take your Call Finder, you click on the bird, and all of a sudden you've got the voice and the song of the bird coming up. So there's no reason nowadays not to be able to identify a bird within a few seconds.
Sappy Birds of South Africa is an ideal guide for nature lovers, tour guides, trainers, game rangers, and a must for every birder. Bird watching is no longer just a hobby. It has now become a unique and memorable experience for all to take part in and enjoy. With Sappy Birds of South Africa as a guide, birdwatching will never be the same again. By purchasing your Sappy Birds of South Africa, you now own a unique bird guide that is different to all other bird guide publications. It changes bird watching forever, and for the first time, bird calls can be heard from the pages of a field guide. The book is supplemented with the Call Finder, an electronic pen that generates the actual bird call when it is pointed at the bird's image. You simply point and listen, ensuring quick association, supplemented by information and hints from the book on the bird's behavior to assist you with identifying it correctly. Sappy Birds of South Africa is the ultimate guide to South Africa's bird species. Pictorial, factual, and audible. This modern technology enhances the way experienced birders go birding. But it also opens up the wonderful world of birding to newcomers and especially children, nature's future caretakers. Welcome to the wonderful world of birding with Sappy Birds of South Africa, your ultimate bird guide. The book contains 4 main sections in which South Africa's more than 720 bird species are grouped together, with further assistance available from the Shape Finder and the Color Coding Guide on page 321. The Shape Finder contains simplified sketches of the main groups of bird species, together with group names and page numbers. For practical reasons, the sketches are not to scale. The 4 sections are water and wetland birds, birds of prey and carrion eaters, veld landscape birds, and bush and tree landscape birds. Within each section, the species are grouped together according to their external shape. The user of the book has 4 options to find the information required on a specific species. If the group that the species belongs to is known, then the group name can simply be looked up in the bilingual dual decks on page 312 to find the relevant page. If the group name is not known, the group can be identified according to the bird's shape in the Shape Finder on pages 31 to 45. And the relevant page numbers for the group obtained in order to limit the search to group members only. The third option is to determine in which type of habitat the bird has been observed, for example, water landscape, and to refer to that section of the book to search for the species according to the color coding. A fourth option, especially for those that already know the bird and would like to quickly view the image or listen to the call, is to look up the bird's name in the scientific index on page 315. The descriptive information for each species includes at least 1 photograph or sketch, a map, text, and a series of icons. The image is usually that of a male bird in breeding plumage. The map displays the species' official number in the top left corner and its status in the bottom right corner. Status can be as follows: yellow, resident throughout the year; purple, summer visitor. The diamond indicates that the species is an exotic species, not traditionally found in South Africa, but which has been introduced at some stage. The orange-colored areas on the map indicate the normal distribution areas of the species. It must be kept in mind that the areas of some species continuously change. The common name of the species appears at the top of the text. The male in breeding plumage is normally described with short references to the difference between non-breeding male, female and juvenile if applicable. Interesting information that is not depicted by the icons is presented in telegram style in the text. The general Afrikaans and scientific names of the species can be found at the end of the text. 4 sets of icons describe important behavior or characteristics of the species. 1. Species' normal environment or habitat. 2. Where the species nest. 3. Species' relative size. The 10 icons in this section enable the user to fairly accurately determine the size of a bird. For each species, it is indicated whether the relevant species is smaller, larger, or the same size as the indicator species. 4. Species social behavior is indicated by 4 icons to show how many birds of a particular species are normally found together. The interpretation is as follows: usually solitary, usually in pairs, usually in small groups such as family groups. Gregarious, usually in flocks or colonies. The call finder unlocks advanced technology for the user and is now available with a field guide for the first time in South Africa. The call finder scans the image or icon and plays the relevant soundtrack from a memory card. The calls are linked to the main photograph in the sections where the species are described. Sometimes more than one soundtrack is available for a specific species. The different soundtracks will play in succession. Where no soundtrack is linked to the photograph in the species description, it will be indicated by a beeping sound. The bird calls are continuously updated and expanded, and users can download the latest version free from Breezer Publications' website. The call finder contains a standard earphone and speaker jack, a mini USB port, a call finder sensor, speaker, and a TF card slot to expand capacity. On the front of the call finder is a control panel with an on-off button that must be kept pressed to switch the device on or off. When it switches on, the call of a fish eagle will be heard. With the M mode switch, you can toggle between call finder and MP3. The R button is for recording and needs to be pressed for starting a recording and pressed again to stop the recording. Keep it pressed to replay the recording. The left arrow plays the previous track or decreases the volume if held depressed. The right arrow is used to play the next track or increases the volume if held depressed. Earphones can be plugged into the side of the device to enable private listening, although one can also use external speakers to enhance the volume of the call finder. The batteries of the call finder can be charged by simply plugging the charger into a normal wall plug. It is important to handle your call finder with care. It is an electronic device with sensitive components such as a memory card, electronics, and rechargeable batteries. Be careful not to bump it, drop it, or expose it to extreme heat or direct sunlight. The call finder will last for many years if handled with care. Congratulations on the purchase of your Sappy Birds of South Africa, the ultimate field guide for bird watchers.